Hey y'all, happy Thursday. Mary, Terry, guns up. I'm sure y'all are excited about Saturday. We are too for you. I hope it's a great day. I hope Tech makes it to the final. That would be really, really great. For the rest of us, we have something else to look forward to besides Rangers baseball, and that is this really is one of my most favorite Gospel Project lessons ever. Um, Guys, let me encourage you, read this lesson so slowly. Take your time with it and be encouraged by it. There is some rich, beautiful verbiage here that you will be blessed by, and our students will be blessed by too. And let me just say here too, typically I really I kind of hate it when we read the lessons to the students. Let me encourage you, know the material well enough that you really can teach it to them. Again, I'm not expecting perfection from anybody, and certainly not expecting it to be me, but know well enough that you can walk them through without having to be checking your notes. But in this instance, with this particular lesson, there is all sorts of lines and even a couple of paragraphs that are totally worth reading to the students. And so anyway, again, read it slowly, be blessed and encouraged. Let me tell you too, so I don't forget to say later on, read all of chapter 31. We're looking at 17 and 31 of Jeremiah. Read the entire chapter. You will be, again, so blessed and so encouraged to be able to convey God's love to the students better that way if you do that also. So let's jump in. Option number one, the love your vegetables things. Um, Man, that's just a perfect analogy to help them grasp this concept. So definitely use that. In fact, you might even ask them the question, what are some other things that they dislike but they know are important? Or what are some things that they dislike even though they know they're life essential? And then talk to them about how we need to love those things. But that doesn't happen naturally. We need God to change our hearts, and that's what He does for us. So let's jump in. Chapter 17, verses 1 through 4. There's some pretty odd stuff here, so I want to walk you through a couple of things about it. When it talks about the iron pen, it's literally referring to a chisel. In fact, it's a diamond tipped chisel. And God's just using really, really vivid imagery to talk about the fact that sin has scarred us and marred us so much. It really is like we've taken a chisel to our hearts. The students will understand the concept of a tattoo. You can change your body with a tattoo, but you can wash that off, or you can go get that surgically removed. If you chisel something into your body, that's incredibly hard to change. Literally, you need new skin, in this instance, a new heart. And that's what we've done to ourselves. But the other reason that God is seemingly so angry in verses 1 through 10 here is because of what He says about the altar. When He mentions the horns on the altar, He's referring to their false altars and to their false gods they've created, but they put horns on the altar. Now, that's not meant to like look wicked. The altars to God had horns in them as well. And if you remember from the Old Testament, a person that was in desperate need of mercy, if they would go and grasp the horns on the altar, they would be given mercy. It was a guarantee, regardless of their sin. And so the Israelites were making a mockery of God's mercy by asking false idols for mercy instead. You got to catch that. So God's angry about that, and then God's angry about the fact that He had told the children of Israel over and over and over again, when your kids wake up in the morning and when they go to bed at night, be talking about me. Teach them as you go along the road so that when they have their own thoughts, they remember me. Except He says that your children don't remember me. They're remembering all these false idols that you worship. Literally, your children are not listening to the words that you say. They are listening to what you do. Man, that's a really powerful lesson for us parents. I'm going to be talking about that later on. But, this is why He's angry. But again, the good news comes in chapter 31. Read that whole chapter. The good news is God gives us a new heart. Now we get into this concept back in chapter 17. God says that the heart is wicked beyond repair. Tell the students, they've used this term, they've used two terms really before. The heart wants what the heart wants, and also I'm just following my heart. Telling somebody to follow their heart is maybe the most cruel advice that we could possibly give somebody, because what the heart wants is wickedness, always. This is why we need new hearts. And so point that out to them too. But then jump to chapter 31 where He says, I'm going to give you a new heart. In fact, I'm going to give you a heart that wants to listen to me, that wants to obey me. Now the flip side of this is we do need to point out to the students that if they have hearts that don't want Jesus, they need to check themselves and their salvation and to think seriously about whether or not they have offered their lives to Christ. And that's a hard conversation to have, but sometimes that's worth bringing up to them. But read through chapter 31 slowly for yourself and bring some of that up to our students. Let me just say this one last thing. Frequently in our lives, we tend to pray to God, God, I need you to change my situation. Not just a pickle that I've gotten myself in because of my sin, but Lord, I'm really, really tempted to sin, and so would you make this girl that's tempting me to disappear, or will you make this object that's tempting me to disappear? And God, 99 times out of 100, his delight is not to change that situation. His delight is to change our hearts. And it's not, poof, that thing has disappeared. It's, I'm going to slowly, sometimes methodically massage you into the image of my Son so that you want me more. As the new covenant is everything. It's good, 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 good news. So celebrate that this weekend, and let's all have fun trumpeting that to our kids. Love y'all. We'll see you later. Bye.